You can run, but you can't hide. You can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. You can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide. You can run, but you can't hide.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. Hey, welcome. I hope everyone is having a terrific Thursday. Anywho, let me go ahead and get into it. You guys, if you're paying attention to the screen, it said like, share, subscribe, comment below. Comment on this video. Also, everything that I state is allegedly entertainment purposes only, and in my opinion, this is the Copyright Act of 1976. This is for fair use, news reporting, teaching, I was finna say reality news, reality TV, and all that good jazz. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes because you guys know that's the type of gal I am, a meat and potatoes type of gal. So the title states hashtag Love and Marriage Huntsville. Who really has a problem with the blogger? Okay, I'm quite sure you guys have heard the rumblings in the streets, probably heard other videos when it came to Anthony Laffey. Anthony, charge it to my head, not my heart. I hope I'm saying your last name correctly. I want to send a shout out to him. He graciously gave us permission to use for this particular video to use his likeness, pictures, and the things of that nature. So huge shout out to you. Thank you so much. Because I know you're busy, and if I send your DM, you probably won't see it because I know you say you don't check those things. So, long story short, y'all know I pretty much like to get into the meat and potatoes. Anthony allegedly, and I'm going to state allegedly, it's not meaning that I don't believe him because he has receipts. And I will link the first video where you can go over to his channel and watch all the other videos with the receipts, recordings, and everything. So, Anthony received a invitation from Miss Wanda. And a lot of people were saying we're not going to film, but they are filming season 10. So, anywho, I just want to get to it. Let me go ahead and add it to the stage. Right here, where you're going to see it says Wanda WL message. This was Saturday at 2:29. Hey, this is Anthony. Don't forget, okay, before I read all of that, Anthony had a conversation on the phone with Miss Wanda and another content creator. And I'm going to say her name, Marcella, because I like Marcella, and she knows not being malicious. So they were all three on the phone, and you can hear Anthony asking Miss Wanda, do production know I'm coming? Do they know I'm coming? Did you I don't want no problems with Carlos. I don't want no problems with Marcus, who is the showrunner. You could hear him asking these questions. And she said, yeah, there's no problem. She's like, I mean, if I was listening, if it was me, I would have went because I'm like, okay, I don't want no problems, no nothing. So he covered himself. So long story short, he gets there. Well, before he gets there, this is what you see. Saturday, he's just like me. I'm gonna follow up. Hey, this is Anthony. Don't forget to send me the address because Miss Wanda, when you go to listen, if you go over and listen to and click on the link that I send you over to his page, you'll hear her stating that because Marcella was telling her to make sure she give him the information. She's like, I'll send it to him, and she wanted him to send the number and everything. I scribbled out because this is actually in Bessemer. I think I'm saying it right. Bessemer. Bad with names. But anywho, right here where it's scribbled out in black, that's the address where we're going. So he sent that to Miss Wanda. Then on Tuesday at 10:09 a.m., he said, "Hey, Miss Wanda, what time do I need to be there?" Because what I scribbled out is what Miss Wanda sent to him, the address. So he was like, "Hey, what time do I need to be there?" Okay. So this is just leaning into the credibility that he was invited. He wasn't just showing up. Okay, so moving on, because remember on this one, it was 10:09 a.m. when he asked what time do he needs to be there. That's 10:09. So on this, the rest of the text, 10:09, where he said what time I need to be there, she, Miss Wanda, right here in the gray, said at 3 p.m. He said, okay, thanks. Yesterday at 1:29, this is, you know, when everything took place, because today is what, Thursday, so yesterday is Wednesday. He said, are you setting up by the fire department? She said yes. He said he said just got here. Okay, this is my thing. When Anthony gets there, and as he's, getting out, and I'm just, I'm not doing word for word, I'm just putting it in my words. As he get there, you get out, you get yourself together. He's not there with any cameras or nothing as a blogger. He's going to support Miss Wanda. So when he gets there, um, look, Anthony, I may forget because I got so much other stuff going on. Anthony receives a phone call. We all know he works in the healthcare field, so there are things that he cannot say in front of people because of HIPAA. I'm not sure if everybody know what HIPAA is. I was a health insurance agent for 12 years. I know it inside and out, and it changes all the time, but you have to be very careful. You can lose your license. You can also be fined and other things. So anywho, as Anthony comes back, and I may be telling this in the wrong sequence, but as Anthony comes back, um a producer, whoever the producer, it wasn't Marcus, but say I think he said a guy or a girl said, hey, told Miss Wanda I need to talk to you for a moment. So they walked off, but it must have been in ear hearing distance, or because Anthony could hear what was being said. And Anthony said that the person was like, and I'm paraphrasing, how did he know where to come, or how did he know where we're at, you know and at that time Miss Wanda really didn't say anything. She didn't say, anything. So listen, y'all need to go over and listen to it's his stuff. Y'all need to go over and listen to it. I'm just over here to give my opinion. So once we go through all of that, for me, I really feel like, Anthony, you're a celebrity. You got to be a celebrity, because the way they was acting like, oh my God, we can't film. We can't do this. We can't do that. They're acting like Anthony was going to bring the house down. And for me, they didn't want Anthony on set. The producers, they didn't want Anthony on set. But the problem lies is this Miss Wanda, because Anthony, from what Anthony was saying, he asked Miss Wanda, like, you didn't tell those people that I was coming, and said Miss Wanda was like, and this is all allegedly, saying Miss Wanda was like, um, well, this is open to the public, like the park, because they're in a park. That's what I forgot to tell y'all. It's a park. It's closed set, but they were in a public park. So make it make sense. So, anywho, when she said, for me, when a person says, oh, well, anybody could come, it's a public, like Anthony said, I'm not just anybody, you invited me. It wasn't like, because Anthony said it's like a 3 hour drive one way, a 3 hour drive one way from Tennessee to Bessemer, from Bessemer to Huntsville, 3 hours one way. So, and I'm the type of person, time is money and money is time. Even though he wasn't going there to make money, I'm the type of person, if I stop what I'm doing to come somewhere, I'm losing money, because from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, that's the end game. Especially, like, I'm a full entrepreneur. So every moment I have, it's not just money, it's being productive and I have things to do. Not to say him going to support Miss Wonder was not productive, but my whole thing is that, so anywho, you know, Miss Wonder pretty much eventually told the producer that she invited him. But, and this is just my opinion, I would have just said it from the, I would have said it. I would have told them, Miss Wonder, if I were you, I would have just told them from the beginning. Before I even invited him, I would have just said, hey, I want to invite Anthony Loffies because this is an actual grand opening, or a soft, I would say a soft grand opening, because based on what she was saying on the phone, that she really was wanting to do, her grand opening was going to be that Saturday. This was like Wednesday in the middle of the week. So anywho, and it's at a public park. So you may close off the set. And if you guys go over and look at what he was, Anthony was recording, because he did eventually record it, and I'm gonna tell you why. And I don't blame him. So anywho, Anthony was like, okay, they don't want me over here. So he was walking to his car. It's a lot of stuff I'm leaving out because I want you to go over and listen to everything in his own words. He was walking to his car. By the time he got to his car and he could touch his car, good old security guy who I have on the thumbnail, he comes over, doop, doo, 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 doo. Like, dude, what are you doing over here? And I don't want to call the guy a flashlight cop because he's just doing his job. But and I mean, he was kind of in a catch 22. He had to do his job, and it was really uncomfortable, you know. So anywho, Anthony played when he had recorded the guy, and he was like, man, I don't, the security guy was like, man, telling Anthony that a few weeks ago some stuff got out, footage or whatever, or stuff was leaked or whatever, and they're on pins and needles and they freaking out and everything. But what does that got to do, what does that have to do with Anthony? That shouldn't have anything to do with Anthony. Anthony wasn't there. Anthony wasn't coming into the capacity of a blogger. So for me, I'm just like, okay, you know, and if I was Miss Wanda, I would have handled that business before I invited him, because of the situation with her not being on the show. I would have wanted to, dot my I's and cross my T's. I wouldn't have wanted to have any, but then maybe she's thinking because it is located in a public park and other people were going to be there, that it wasn't a problem. Now, this leads me, and while I'm talking, let me show you. Okay, Anthony, this is Marcus. He's the showrunner, and that's the security guy. This leads me to this. There were several ways that this situation could have been handled. The first is the obvious, like Anthony stated, the NDA. And with Anthony having the vast knowledge, I've heard him talk about, he's only going to sign an NDA for that particular situation. I don't think he would have signed an NDA that blanketed everything, that he could, he couldn't talk about stuff as it until it comes out. We know that wasn't going to happen, because if he gets something juicy and it's juicy enough, sometimes he sits on it and sometimes he doesn't. But this is my thing. I would have, once I seen it was a problem, if I was Miss Wanda, I would have went and spoke with my because she says she has a female producer. I would have spoke to my producer, because when you start having a lot of hands get into a situation, the conversation and the direction starts to become diluted. That's like if I'm talking to you on the phone and I say something and tell someone something about somebody else. When they go back, they're not going to carry that conversation or that bone the way I stated it. So anytime I have to have what I call a come to Jesus meeting with anyone or multiple people, I get everybody at the same time because they hear it all at the same time. Now, however they interpret it, that's on them. So my whole thing was, it's something that's called decorum. They could have came and spoke with Anthony. They could have spoke with Miss Wanda, and this could have been a simple situation. A simple situation. They could have easily said, okay, he's out here with the public. So, we got to just make sure. And if they wanted security to stand there and make sure he didn't have a phone or whatever, that's fine. But my thing is, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now, I'm not sure if some of the other content creators or bloggers, the other bloggers that have been on set and different things, did they treat them the same way? I feel you can do what you want, but I don't feel you should treat one better than the other. There should be a strict guideline for all content creators or bloggers. I think it should be all. It doesn't matter if you like how they talk about your show or you don't. I think you're murking the waters when you don't do it that way. Just because you don't like how Anthony will do things, that doesn't matter. He has his opinion. So for me, honestly, this the most hype love and marriage Huntsville has had in a while. I'm just keeping it real. So if I were Anthony and I've seen, and let's say I don't know if they filmed it or somebody else filmed it, because Anthony said what made him upset was, well, not upset, what made him say, okay, you want that Anthony, you're going to get that Anthony. Three women were walking into, I think he said a white car or something, but say that they were talking, was like, are you mad because you didn't get the film, or are you upset, some of that, to that effect. And Anthony was like, no, Anthony is like me. I'm one of these people, I don't want nobody throwing salt on my name or judging my character. If I want to do something, I'll like, hell yeah, I did it, I did this, I did that. But at the end of the day, this all could have been avoided. This all could have been avoided. Miss Wanda, I think you are off the chain. I think you're funny as hoot, but I think that you dropped the ball. I think that you dropped the ball, and I waited because I wanted to hear all the information that came out. I think the security guy kind of probably talked a little bit too much, so he may be out of a job. Um, I don't think this is a reason for them not to keep Miss Wanda. I mean, what was put out, the little bit that I seen, didn't look like they really had nothing going on at that time. And like Anthony stated, the cast wasn't even there. The cast had nothing to do with it, allegedly. He stated that Kimmy, Destiny, and Tisha drove up in a Mercedes Sprinter, like almost after, but they was confused because they didn't even know what was going on. All I know is that I feel like there was too many chiefs and not enough Indians. One person should have given directions, and that's it. And for something like that, because a blogger can really make or break you. If I was Marcus and I was on set, which Anthony said he's seen him off from a distance, I would have came down and had a one-on-one with Miss Wanda and with Anthony. And then he would have been able to, be like, oh, okay. And then actually, Marcus, you kind of, pop out your own self in the foot, because if you would have done that and had Anthony to sign an NDA, Anthony would have been able to really give a great, give great commentary once he was able to talk about it, once it aired. Once it aired, he would have been able to talk about it. And I feel like that's kind of some of the approach you guys are missing on Love and Marriage Huntsville, because your show has always played off screen. Always. So for me, do I think, and I know that Anthony had kind of, well, he didn't allude to it. He said he had blocked Miss Wonder. Miss Wonder was calling him. But I think Anthony and Miss Wonder will be fine. I think, once the dust settles and everything, I think it'll be fine. I think maybe Anthony feels, slighted. Maybe he feels like, it could have been handled better, because he was coming there to support her and he really liked Miss Wanda. So, and you could tell he wasn't really on any Fugazi stuff, because if that was the case, he wouldn't have kept asking. Like when you guys listen on the recording, he kept asking her, do they know? Do they know I'm coming? So, but for me, I think people need to get over themselves. I think that I understand Love and Marriage. I understand Marcus, Carlos, them. They don't want no reality show or any even television. Nobody wants that information put out, because who wants to go watch something that you already know about? But that's the crazy part, because there was a lot of stuff that we knew about before it even aired. Period. So I feel that Anthony and Miss Wanda can get past this. Just give it some time. I think two things, Miss Wanda. You should have just went ahead and made sure everything was done before you asked Anthony. And the second thing is, when the producer or whoever said they wanted to talk to you, you should have just told them straight out, I invited him. But I can understand you probably, I don't think you're scared of anyone, Miss Wanda, but I think maybe you were nervous. And, for Anthony, he's probably looking at it like, I'm out here by myself. So I'm gonna start windmilling like they will windmilling, And I think the production cast, and this is my opinion, not the cast, but the product. I think the producers and everybody that works, was at that location. I think they made a mountain out of a molehill. I really do. They acted like Anthony was this big time movie star and a CIA and a spy all wrapped in one. The poor man was just there to support and take some food, like really. But that's all I have to say. I really feel like, this, as I say, this too shall pass. But I think that for me, if I was in Anthony's shoes, I probably would feel a way of worse, because I don't like my time played with. That's just how I am. I can't say Miss Wanda did it on purpose, but what I can say, Miss Wanda, when a person asks you a straight out question, you could have just told him, no, I haven't talked to them. And he could have told you then, from Saturday to Tuesday, he could have said, hey, you need to speak to them. Or even before he left on a Wednesday, or when you were starting to set up, you could have been out there like, hey, I invited this blogger, but he's not a blogger. His name, or he's not coming in that capacity. And then you could have let him know if he needed to come or not, but you could have really done that before Wednesday. So there were steps that could have been made to prevent this. I hope everyone have a great evening. I want to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you didn't on your way coming in. Go ahead, turn on that notification bell and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And until next time, peace and soul. Mwah.